Welcome to Small Arm Solutions. Today is actually going to be part 3 of our boutique black rifles segments here. This is the third rifle we're going to take a look at that was a rifle that was built by me. It was every single component was handpicked to make what I considered the ideal black rifle. Some of the parts you'll see are common with the rifles you saw in the first two videos, but the major part about this rifle is the upper receiver assemblies. This is built based off of the billet Mega Arms upper and lower receiver. Extremely high quality upper and lower billet receivers. Very unique look to it. Very well made. Again, some of the components are going to be the same, but you're going to see some new ones as well. We're going to zoom in here and you can take a look at the actual details of these components. Starting from the back, again, this is my staple Voltor mod stock here. This is probably one of the most durable and in my opinion probably one of the most comfortable stocks that's out there. Again, I can only give one criticism of this, and that's the way this attaches here. When you have a nice beard, they tend to get caught in there a little bit, but other than that, I think it's awesome. The top, as you can see, it actually is numbered, so you can tell what position that your stock is in. The buffer itself is a standard H2 buffer. The actual sling attachment is a CQD, which is the same one that was used on the Mark 18 by SOCOM. You have one attachment on the right side, and then you will have two on the left side. Okay, as you can see, also the end plate's also locked in place, and it's also staked. Looking at the pistol grip, this is another one of my staples, is the Magpul Naiad pistol grip. The actual front pivot pin and takedown pin are the Yankee Hill Easy pins. They sit out much further, so you can actually pull up easily on them. They do stick out a little bit on the side, but I definitely don't see as it being any kind of an issue, but it does make it for much more easy disassembly. The safety is ambidextrous. It's the ambidextrous badass or ambidextrous selector system. The trigger itself is rather interesting. This is actually made by Mega. It's an adjustable trigger. We'll take a look at a little bit more on the inside when we open it up. The magazine release is a Cypress Precision billet magazine release. Again, one of my favorite magazine releases. It sits up nice and high. It's got some stippling on there, so your finger's also not going to slide off of it. The ejection port cover itself is actually a polymer ejection port cover manufactured by Strike Industries. What's really nice about this is you can remove and assemble this without having to take the front handguard and the barrel nut off. It actually has a piece right in here where you actually would stick a drip punch in, push it forward, and it'll come right out. I see absolutely no negatives to this polymer ejection port cover. It's every bit as durable, I think, as any of the aluminum ones, and also stays straighter. Another thing that's nice about the polymer parts is they don't have that memory, so it's not going to bend. It's straight and it's going to stay that way. So I think it's definitely an improvement. They make a few different ones. They also make a few different colors as well. The forward assist is the Iron Viper. It's a teardrop. It's made of metal. I used this on my on the last video as well, which is it's awesome. It's durable, being made out of steel. The texturing on the back is really good. Your finger's not going to slip off of it. We're going to flip it over. The bolt catch is manufactured from a billet as well by Cypress Precision. It's oversized, as you can see, and it has stippling on it. It also has a stippling down in the bottom, and this actually sticks out further than your average one does, so it makes it much easier to push on to engage and much larger to disengage. This does have an ambidextrous magazine release. This is the Norgon ambi catch. It's installed in there as well. As you can see, Mega Arms. Now, Mega has several really nice upper and lower receiver sets. They have an ambidextrous lower receiver assembly as well. This one's not. This is a standard. So now we're going to look forward again. The handguard that was chosen for this one was, again, my favorite Centurion Arms. This is a complete free float system. You can also see the Manta rail protectors on here. Now this one here is actually the Manta rail protector that actually hides the wires as well. So as you can see, the wires coming out from the pressure pad It's going through here and into here, so now there's no wires hanging out anywhere. This is a Knight's Armament broom handle, and you can also see there's a slip over on this on here, which is also a Manta, where the pressure pad slides into place, so it can be used to activate the light itself. It's an Insight Tech light. On the bottom and on the side here, you'll see the Manta rail protector covers. Now, this particular C4 rail actually extends forward of the front sight base, which gives you a little bit extra real estate there for mounting optics or whatever accessory that you would want. You can see the cutout for the bayonet lug, so you can attach the bayonet. Now, the front sight base is again one of my all-time favorites. It's the ARMS number 41 silhouette. And as you can see, it has a triangular shape of the standard front sight base. To disengage, you just push down and fold back. These come two different ways. The standard way is actually you would use 2 bolts to lock it onto the barrel. This particular one here is an OEM model, which is actually drilled and penned. This is the way I prefer to do it. I've had too many bad experiences with a rapid fire or fully automatic, with the front sight base actually migrating forward. All of a sudden it starts cutting down on your gas, you're getting short stroking, and then to the point where actually we'll cut off the gas altogether. So I do prefer the drill and pin method. The barrel itself is a hammer forged FN barrel with a Vortex flash suppressor. The Vortex flash suppressor, according to all the testing that I've personally done and I've seen, is the most efficient flash suppressor in the industry. It's made by Smith Enterprises, and Ron Smith there makes them from 5.56 30 caliber or up to 50 caliber BMG. It's an excellent design. The rifle utilizes a mid-length gas system. You have a 7-inch carbine system, a 9-inch mid-length, and then you have a 12-inch, I believe it's 12-inch for the rifle system. This is a very big improvement over the 7-inch gas system. The 7-inch gas system has basically twice the port pressure of the standard rifle length. So what's happening is you're opening up your bolt quicker, where you still have residual pressure that's actually in the cartridge case. So the extractor has to work much harder to extract that and eject that cartridge case. By having the mid-length gas system, you're allowing more dwell time. It allows for much easier extraction, therefore more reliable extraction, and it causes less wear on the weapon as well. It just gives it that extra time that it needs. I definitely feel this is a major reliability enhancement over the 7-inch standard carbine gas system. So we're going to take a look at the inside a little bit too, but before that we're going to talk a little bit about the sights. The actual sight here is the Comp 4. This is the new military model. If you notice how the battery compartment is low here. This was done at request of the U.S. military, because originally it was sitting up higher up here, and it was not like they said that it was a problem for them the way that it stuck up. So it was moved downward. So this is the current version that's being used by the U.S. military. This has the bells and whistles on it. You have your standard dust cover here, and then you have your honeycomb in there for the anti-reflection. And you can also lift both of those up so you can get rid of your honeycomb and have straight your lens. And of course the back here is open as well, and it takes a AA battery. The backup sight is the ARMS 40 LP, another one of my favorite backup sights. When you look to the rear with both closed, you have your short aperture for long range. When you flip downwards, you have your large aperture for short range. The adjustments are made for windage from the left-hand side. Disengage, you pull back on the lever, pull down. So now we're going to take a look on the inside. Now the trigger mechanism here has a sequence precision trigger, and then we have just a standard hammer trigger that is Nybex coated or nickel boron coated, because the bolt carrier itself is also nickel boron coated. And we're going to take a quick look at the bolt carrier. This is an enhanced bolt carrier group that's manufactured by LWRCI. And if you notice that the gas key is quite different. This is actually based off of their external piston bolt carrier, where it's one piece. As you can see, this is all one piece from the carrier right up to the key here. So A drill comes down and it puts the hole in for the gas port, and then you have a stainless steel actual gas tube that's screwed in place and then pinned in place. What this does is it completely eliminates any possibility of gas leakage through the bolt carrier. Generally with these rifles, there's three places where you can lose gas. Well, one is the bolt carrier group itself from the carrier key. The second is by not having or having worn gas rings. And the third is the actual front sight base itself. We're having this design here. This completely eliminates any possibility of having gas leakage on the bolt carrier at the carrier key because of screws breaking or screws not being properly torqued or whatnot. This is a major enhancement. This would definitely would benefit any rifle. We're going to take a closer look at the bolt itself. This particular bolt is LWRCI's enhanced bolt, and they have made some nice changes to it. If you notice, this has what's very similar to the LMT's lobster tail extractor system. You notice the difference in the shape of it, and we're going to take a look inside there. So as you can see, we have the lobster tail extractor. We have a much more aggressive extractor claw itself, which actually grabs a hold of more of the rim of the cartridge case, which definitely offers a major reliability enhancement. Now you do have, similar to the LMT, however, the actual springs here are a little bit longer, and they also have a little bit of an extractor buffer in there as well. I don't know how well you can see that. So you have two of these. So you have your two extractor springs, and then when you actually look at the breech face itself, you can notice around here where you have a crud groove that's machined in there as well, which allows debris such as brass chips, carbon, even primer seal, allow it a place to go that it doesn't stick onto the breech face and cause any kind of a failure to lock. Another major enhancement. The material is made much stronger than the standard bolt. I'm not quite sure what the material is, which they're not going to release to us anyways. But this is very similar to the bolt that they make in 6.8. The other thing to notice about this too is the cartridge base is fully supported. Most of the standard AR-15 M16 bolt, you'll see where it's actually cut down here on an angle, and that's where the extractor slides in over. And what that does is it does not fully support the cartridge base. When you have higher pressures in there, such as particularly water in the barrel or whatnot, having that fully supported cartridge base makes it much more durable. It's definitely an advantage to have on the bolts. The only two bolts I'm aware of that do this is the LMT, and then this one here, which I do believe is definitely a derivative of the LMT, and the Knights Armament, which definitely is also a derivative of the LMT. Those are the only three bolts that I know of in the industry right now that have a fully supported cartridge base. Also, another neat little feature that's on here, you should notice there's two little dimples on the extractor itself. These actually go into the extractor springs to hold them straight, which this is a unique part of the LWRCI that's not done on the LMT or the Knights. Always make sure the extractor is towards the right. The actual cam pin itself doesn't have an F to let you know mark forward. So in case you tend to forget which way the cam pin goes, it even gives you a notice there. Now if you notice on the side, you have two different ways, or there's only one way you can actually insert the firing pin retaining pin. When it is actually in a vertical position is when it is the strongest, because the way that it's engaging both areas on both sides of the pin. So this only allows you to insert it just one way, which is in that vertical position, which is its strongest position. This bolt carrier is actually for sale to the public. It's just the bolt carrier itself. This was actually designed as part of the product improvement program for the M4. This was one of the entries which was never chosen. That actual program, I definitely think was pretty much a farce. There were several bolt carriers and bolts that were introduced that were a vast improvement over the current M4, but they only tested them to 6,000 rounds. Well, the original one will last 6,000 rounds easy. you're not going to see the benefit of these until you get way out in there into 10, 20,000 rounds, but they never tested it, so which is probably the reason why you never actually saw a change in the bolt carrier mechanism. But again, this is available from LWRC. The charging handle itself is also manufactured by Mega, and it's manufactured from a billet of 7075 T6 aircraft aluminum. And you'll notice that you have the gripping grooves on the back of it. And of course, the barrel and barrel extension are the M4 extended feed ramps. So you have all those benefits. Now, overall, this entire system, I definitely would say it's a massive improvement over the standard M4 carbine. Much stronger components, a highly advanced bolt carrier group, a mid-length gas system. The barrel itself being a FN cold hammer forged barrel, which is chrome plated, which is definitely a better barrel for as far as military use. Now, when I say better, I mean it's a more durable barrel. There's always been a discussion between what's better, a hammer forged barrel or a standard button cut barrel. Now, I'll tell you what my experience is and what my opinion is. My opinion is the standard button cut rifling is a more accurate barrel. You have a very sharp leading edge there that you really can't duplicate with a hammer forge. So for as far as accuracy is concerned, I think you're going to get a little bit better accuracy out of it. However, for longevity, I do believe that the cold hammer forged barrel is a much longer lasting barrel. It's more durable, even as for a fully automatic machine gun barrel. I think it's better. I think that it's certainly adequate. The hammer forged barrel is adequate. Its accuracy is certainly excellent. But I think if you were to put the scope on it and you were to try to get the group shots with it at longer range, I do believe that you would find better accuracy with the button cut barrel. It's sort of an interesting story in itself that the U.S. military allows hammer forged barrels on machine guns, but they have never allowed hammer forged barrels on the M16 or M4 system. Colt has offered through the years since they became acquainted with Dymaco, or Colt Canada, who manufacture barrels in the hammer forged configuration. They have offered the U.S. government the Colt hammer forged barrels on occasion. They've taken some, they've tested them. But the word that always came back from Rock Island was that they will not allow a hammer forged barrel on the M16 carbine because it affects the accuracy. That was the official word from Rock Island. So it was just plain never allowed. As per the TDP, it calls for a button cut barrel. Is there a reason, a realistic reason why they shouldn't allow hammer forged barrels? I don't think so. I think that I think the hammer forged barrels are excellent. I think they're fully acceptable for military use. I think the benefits do outweigh the slight accuracy potential that the button cut gives over it. But the U.S. government is the U.S. government. You will not go wrong with either barrel. The hammer forged barrels are becoming more and more common now. You have companies such as LWRC, who has their own hammer forged machine now. Daniel Defense has their own hammer machine forge right now. Pretty much all of the European companies all use hammer forged barrels. HK, FN, even Beretta with the ARX use them. The U.S. military is probably one of the few left that still uses the button cut barrels. This rifle here is just another version of a rifle that I would consider put together for some of the best parts in the industry. You would not buy a rifle off the shelf this way. This rifle is 100% custom built. You get representatives from numerous manufacturers on here for as far as components that I think very highly of. That's the beautiful thing about this weapon system is you can customize it however you want. You have any number of options in stocks: pistol grips, receivers, handguards, barrels, flash suppressors, front sights. Your combination is endless. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please click like and please subscribe.